Apparently, there was still COVID money going out. Thankfully, it looks like there's going to be a stop put to that. Also, President Trump yesterday said something that was correct, but also probably not something that any other president has ever said. All that and more coming up on this episode of Turning Point Tonight. My name is Jobob, and together we are charting the course of America's cultural comeback. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Turning Point Tonight. Remember, you can always email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. You can email us whether you agree or whether you're wrong, and if it's horrible and nasty, there's a chance that we might read it later on in the show. Now, before we get to any of those really interesting stories, I think we need to talk about something that I don't think any other cable news show is talking about, and that, of course, is ninjas. Of course, we need to outline what is going on in the UK. Believe it or not, this is a real tweet or X post that was sent out by the UK Prime Minister in regards to the speculation that the UK is going to ban ninja swords. I wish I were making this up. The UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer tweeted this: confirmed ninja swords will be banned by this summer. Now, as ridiculous as that might sound, my question to our friends across the pond is, why stop at ninja swords? You know, if you know anything about ninjas, they are shifty, they are disciplined, they are lethal, and most of all, they are sneaky. What if they sneak into your country? My recommendation to those folks in the UK is, one, probably get some braces, and two, maybe also consider banning ninjas en masse. And again, why stop at just ninjas? Maybe we should also ban or consider banning their cohorts, the turtle. Who knows what dangers might lurk in those ninja turtles? And of course, banning the ninja turtle won't actually do anything unless you also ban the rats. You know, what dangers are sneaking underneath the sewers of London? You know, as a matter of fact, UK, you might want to consider banning all ninja-related things. Stars, Legos, pirates, anything that has to do with ninjas, you should consider banning, because if you're going to ban ninja swords, go all the way. I wish this story was a joke, but it is not. And here to discuss that and so much more is our awesome panel host of Speechless, Kevin Phares, and comedian friend Beau Robertson. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, thanks
Thank you so much for having us, Jobob.
Beau, I want to start with you here. We make fun of the whole ninja thing, but at the same time, this is real. This is actually happening. The Prime Minister said, hey, we're going to ban ninja swords because of escalating violence in knife attacks around the UK. What it really ends up being is that, well, countries don't recognize that it's not the weapon, it's the culture, and at some point, you're just going to ban anything that anybody uses as a weapon. What are your thoughts on this, in my opinion, ridiculous ban?
Well, this is the problem when you have tons of samurais coming into the country, right? Samurais don't like ninjas, so they have to ban them, get them out of the country so they can, assume parts of government that can control the nation, right? And it's like, what's next? You got swords, stars. What about forks and spoons? What about my bare hands? You gonna ban these suckers? These can do some damage. So yeah, maybe that's why the samurai are better. They don't need weapons. They do it all with their bare hands. And that's why they're getting ahead in the UK.
You know, Beau, you might have picked up on something. Is banning ninja swords and other ninja-related things racist by any chance? That question
I think so.
will linger out there. Kevin,
very targeted.
So the obvious question is, well, what constitutes as a ninja sword, as the Prime Minister said will be banned? Well, it has to be a blade length between 14 inches and 24 inches. With a range that excludes shorter blades. The blade shape, it must be a straight blade. Any curvature in the blade would then constitute it as a ninja sword. And also the design of the tip it really indicates whether or not a given sword is in fact a ninja sword. Again, all of this is ridiculous, but at what point do you think the Brits are going to figure out that that's not why the Americans have the Second Amendment, to protect people on the streets or protect themselves on the streets? It's to fight the government from banning things like ninja swords. if
Well,
needed.
absolutely. I absolutely, Joe Bob. I mean, I think the thing is that you see with Keir Starmer here is that he's really worried about the length of the blade because he knows that 3 blades or 3 inches of a blade, it's just perfect, is the perfect amount. But 14, who really needs 14 inches? Am I right? That's where he's really going with this. But in all seriousness, what we're looking at is the fact that they ban guns, then they come, then but that doesn't stop crime, that doesn't stop violence, that doesn't stop people wanting to do bad things for whatever the reason may be with a ninja sword. And so, just from down there, like you mentioned, is the mainstream media in America will not cover this because they know that that's exactly what happens. Is when you ban guns, they then people start doing crime with knives, and then, as Beau had said, if you ban the knives, if you ban the ninja swords, then it'll be the fists. And that's what we're seeing here is people who want to hurt others are going to hurt others no matter the weapon of choice.
Yeah, and I think it needs to be abundantly clear. This is not at all condoning violence. It's just saying, hey, there's better ways to curb it, and a lot of those have to do culturally. This was from a UK outlet. Deadly ninja swords to be banned through the UK from August 1st. So they have until August 1st to get rid of their ninja swords. A surrender scheme will run from the 1st to the 31st of July, allowing weapons to be surrendered anonymously nationwide. Failure to surrender knives/ninja swords could see offenders facing jail time. So putting you in jail for having a sword that is too long. Speaking of things that are ridiculous, this is true, but still, I think because of how crazy things are in the modern woke world, it doesn't seem as ridiculous as it actually is. I'm going to play you this clip from President Trump talking yesterday, and I want you to frame this in the mindset of showing this video to, I don't know, Teddy Roosevelt or Dwight Eisenhower and imagining the look on their face. Again, nothing that President Trump says is wrong, but it still is nuts that a president is having to say this given how obvious it is. Watch this clip.
No matter how many surgeries you have or chemicals you inject, if you're born with male DNA in every cell of your body, you can never become a woman. You're not going to be a woman. And that's why last month I proudly signed a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports, and it was very popular and very...
Nothing he said there was wrong. All accurate, all entirely necessary, but it's still crazy that we're in a world where the president of the United States is saying, hey, if you're a woman, you're a woman, and if you're a man, you're a man. Beau, your thoughts?
It's crazy that we're talking about this in 2025. If we get to the more important stuff that matter, it would really benefit us. Like ninja swords, why are those in our country? Why aren't we banning those all the time? But instead we're talking about these. It's really frustrating that in 2025, we're resorting to conversations about men and women, which most people can go out to the street and can clearly see the difference. But there's obviously a special group that prioritizes their body parts more than others, and they think that they have the ability to dress and be whoever they want, even though biologically speaking, they can never be a woman. So,
yeah, it is nuts. Again,
what'd you just say? Did you say nuts?
Hey there. Hey there.
Hey, we do not use gender preferred pronouns here.
That was funny. I gotta catch myself. It is crazy. Let's just say that.
Kevin, no, I prefer the nuts, and so do these trans men. No, I don't know.
Jeez, Kevin, let's try to avoid getting kicked off the air here. But let's see. So Kevin, the Trump administration has made this a big point, mostly because the American people, this is not like a down the middle bipartisan issue in terms of both sides arguing equally. This is like an 80-20 issue. If that, there's some numbers that suggest it's like a 90-10 issue. In other words, 9 out of 10 Americans are like, yeah, this is all a good idea. How do we get out of the tailspin of the libs trying to make it like it's not a 90-10 issue?
Well, I got to be honest, Joe Bob. We got to keep encouraging the libs to and doing things like this. Encourage the libs to really be all in on the trans issue, because if we look back at what the most effective ad was in 2024 for Trump, it was the one
Yes.
that was Kamala's for they, them, I'm for you. And that's what wins, because you're right. It's a 90-10 issue, an 80-20 issue where constantly Republicans win and win and win, because the average person is usually like, if you want to go be weird, go do it to your go do whatever weird crap you want to do on your own, but don't subject my kids to it, don't subject me to it. I'm not going to call you a she when you have a beard and your bulge is poking out in your little thong that you're wearing on in June, all that stuff. No, what we have now is an issue that will continue to let Republicans and conservatives win constantly. If we just keep saying men are men and women are women and you can't change that, let them get mad, let them self-sabotage. We'll just keep winning.
Yeah, it does seem like a very weird hill to die on, and I guess I hope they continue making the trek up that hill, and hopefully conservatives will keep winning because of it. Beau and Kevin will be back after the break to discuss more news of the day, including apparently there was still COVID money going out. We'll also check in with Monica Page, the White House correspondent for Turning Point, right after the break. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.